CoStar, which is apartments.com. I've got Janet, who is the best account manager I've ever worked with. I'll call her and she's on the road, and she'll pull over her car on, I don't even know where, maybe on the freeway. I hope I haven't caused an accident.
Yes, I have pulled over on the freeway.
But she's amazing. I've been working with Janet for a couple years now. We've got this awesome package with them, and CoStar has been, and apartments.com have been an awesome partner for us, and we've found great success when Emmett and I are evaluating all of our vendors. Apartments.com is significantly above the rest of the ILSs, and they continue to be investing in the right stuff. And so I'm honored to have these guys. We also have Eric here, and he is our go-to guy for day-to-day stuff, and he is stellar, and his last name is Graham, which means he's even better.
It's spelled right.
Yeah.
And it's spelled right. No A-E-M-E stuff.
Yeah.
But I'll let Janet take it away. We've got an awesome short presentation here, and it's just going to showcase how great they are. So thanks, Janet.
Thank you, Graham. Hi, everybody. So I have been working with y'all for about 2 years now. I just recently was promoted to regional director, so I'm turning over the day-to-day to Eric, who's going to introduce you to apartments.com and go over some numbers with you. And then I'm going to pass this book around. If you guys want your local market rent survey and your sub-market reports for your market, just put your name, your community name, and your email, and we'll get that out to you later this week, okay? All right, so I'll just hand it there. All right, and so this is Eric.
What's up, guys? One of the reports we're going to send you guys this evening or tomorrow morning is going to be out of CoStar. It's not one that you guys have access to now in your apartments ad. So the sub-market report's actually forecasting information about your job market and vacancy and all that stuff. So super valuable. If you already have apartments, you already have the rent surveys, obviously. So again, do I have a clicker? There's a clicker over there. Let's try it. Can I Steve Jobs this? Nice. Okay. Cool, guys. Well, yeah, that's awesome. We got an introduction. You met Janet. I'm Eric, a.k.a. the guy from Adam Ruins Everything. And while you're Googling that, I'm going to get started. So I'm going to back up. Oop. I don't know how to back up. Apartments.com and CoStar. You guys may have heard of CoStar. It's a commercial real estate intelligence product. It tracks data basically for the Grahams of the world, the regionals of the world, to be able to dial in, pull up any property, the vacancy rate, the forecast, all their comps, and all of that stuff. And the way that we used to gather that data was researchers in Washington, D.C., and they called every 60 to 90 days. You probably got the calls. And they basically collected sales data and vacancies and rent and unit mixes, and it was as good as a market survey, you know, if I asked somebody to do a market survey on site. The idea for the acquisition of apartments.com in 2014, and I like to break this down because if you've been in the game a while, it's changed a lot since then. We wanted to buy an ILS, relaunch it completely based on renter feedback, market it like crazy, dump crazy money into it, $100 million a year since we acquired, and then buy up as many sites as we possibly can to cover as much of that renter traffic as we can. Once the most property managers were using it, that data that goes into apartments goes into CoStar. So that is live data that's inside of CoStar, which is awesome because it's a bigger dog in the race. So when we're talking about $100 million, or you're getting little mailers with screens on them or whatever, and you're wondering where all that money's coming from, that investment is something you're benefiting from on both sides, having CoStar and apartments.com. So pretty cool little relationship there, but a lot of people are like, you know, any other ILS would be going very far into the red, making the investments that we're making in this product. So yeah, so basically all of those sites, if you're wondering who your rep is, I'm the lead rep. You have local reps, of course, and we all work together to make sure you guys are taken care of. 70% of the ILS traffic on the internet, so it's probably me. You could just start with me, unless you're angry, then I'll send you on. So, so yeah, so basically that's the relationship. Now, if I can figure out which button it is. So I'm going to skip all the traffic. I'm going to skip all the numbers. Vendors do that to me all the time. I was over it when I was on site. I'm going into conversion here. That's the one that matters, and that's the one that I'm assuming most of your bosses may be in here, that your bosses are going to love. And I have numbers from HRA here that are showing that you guys are killing it, even compared to our studies. So I want to make sure that the people that are the decision makers in here are seeing those numbers. So let's go into it. So 2 studies here. We did one with on-site last year that had similar results, but the ones this year, or I guess 2018, were LeaseHawk and Anyone Home. And they're, if you've heard of them, they're lead tracking software. It's not a company of ours. And they're basically answering leads and tracking them and seeing what's converting and what's not, and so on and so forth. So they did a study for the sake of their clients to see what's working the best. Yeah, so we're tracking lead to lease conversion. I don't want to give you the most leads. I never have. You're wasting time on bad leads. If I give you 500, we want to give you the best conversion, the best likelihood it's going to turn into a renter. So, but even though you will see that our conversion ratio is awesome, you guys are converting those leads. So we're nothing as a high conversion lead without somebody in the office taking that lead and treating it like their little baby until it turns into a renter. So that speaks to your guys' skills. And if they walk into, I mean, I could bring a prospect to your door, but if your office smells like cat pee, or your leasing agent is terrible, that's not going to convert. So this speaks to you guys. That's what I just said. So the LeaseHawk study is 10 million phone calls. We're tracking that conversion rate. This one's leads per community. And I'm going to blow our horn for a minute. 58% more than RentPath and 540 more than Zillow. But you guys, boop, boop, 146% more there. 705% more there. And I checked this math like 14 times because it didn't seem right, but it's actually right. So this is just a thank you for me for making my job easier when I'm talking to the Emmets and the Grahams and everybody upstairs to actually be able to show them that this is working. So thank you guys for converting those leases and giving us these numbers to look at today. So give yourselves a round of applause on that. So this next one makes you look even cooler, so check it out. 750,000 leads were tracked by Anyone Home. And the lead to lease conversion rate, which is the holy grail of my line of work, and ultimately you guys for not wasting your time, we're beating the 2 competitors in this study. They didn't have Zillow, which kind of bums me out, but I have Zillow numbers for HRA. The lead to lease conversion that they were getting was 15 for us and 22 for Apartment Guide. You guys blew that away, which is awesome. This is basically a national average for what they were converting, and you guys are knocking it out of the park nationally here. So you guys hit 8 for us, 10.5 for RentPath, so even they're doing better with your guys' numbers. So you guys, on average, 200% better at leasing and closing deals than the folks that they were counting these leads for. So that's another round of applause for you guys. Awesome job. Like I said, I didn't bring you this stuff, but you got to do it. So, very cool. So, I'm going to keep it pretty short, but I wanted to kind of give you an idea. As you guys have been moving dollars to what is obviously working really well, first of all, thank you for that. It's awesome. You guys have been doing great. I watched the numbers. As you've been moving those dollars to the buckets that make sense, you stand to save a lot of money for the company by continuing to perform the way that you are. And we're always getting better. So I'm going to show you some stuff for 2018 that we are moving towards for 2019 and some things to get fired up. So this is awesome to look at. This is the numbers that I actually got from Graham and Emmett. I didn't change anything. I added 2 columns with calculations, so bear with me. Number of leases on the left. Conversion ratio on the second. So that's the percentage that they're converting to leases. The cost per lease is all divided out based on the amount you're spending on an ad versus how many leads you got versus how many leases you got, and so on and so forth. So that's the cost for every lease that you got from each one of these sources. So what I did was I added 2 columns, because I'm in sales and I have to do that. Additional cost for each source on top of what it costs from us. I basically did a simple subtraction problem, and then I took those numbers, additional cost per lease, multiplied it by the number of leases that you got last year and got that number on the far right. What that means is the 1,352 leases that you guys got last year would have cost $187,928 versus the 215 and change that it did cost. And again, we're moving those dollars. You guys saw this number, you know, your marketing people saw these numbers, and they made a decision to move forward. So as we're moving things across, that's the kind of math that we're looking at to save this company per year. So you guys, again, that's a number you shoot for when you're leasing all the way from a lead. You guys are going to improve things for HRA on that scale. Now, last one is the same kind of calculation, but instead of using percentages, I did leads per lease. So I used the percentage to figure out how many leads it took to get you a lease, and that number is number 2. Now, I rounded up because you can't use 0.36% of a lead. So we took the additional leads per lease that you guys needed. I figured I'd average from like the top down, everybody that's involved in the leasing process, I figured $20 an hour. 1.5 hours spent per lead, so everything from a copied and paste email all the way to an appointment coming in and not panning out. 1.5 average spent per lead. And I figured out the additional cost for leasing hours that you're spending on bad leads. Okay, that's a different line item in the budget. I did budgets in my 6 years on site. It's not calculating into that cost per lease when we're dividing that math. So if we take that additional cost per lead, we take the original cost per lease, and we add that additional cost per lease for the time that your people are spending on site that they could be doing better things with, this math gets insane. So when we're talking about the cost more there, multiplied by the number of leases, you guys stand to, drum roll, save $150,000 this year with that switch that you're making to apartments.com, pretty much across the board. So that number is something to get fired up for 2019, because you guys are going to make a huge difference now that you have the tools to do so. And if you don't, make the call. So that is basically what I'm trying to get you guys fired up about. And we've done a lot of math today, but there's one last calculation that I want to do with my communications degree and not math skills. Is that horizon success? So thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. Pat yourselves on the back. You did an awesome job this year. We're going to save a bunch of money next year. So thank you again. That's it.
Does anybody have any questions for us about the network or anything? No? Okay.
Yeah, we'll be back there.
Yeah, they have a booth, so you guys can go chat with them.